We're going to take a look at this biogeneric reference case where the proposal was proposed backwards. So if I go back, we have the tooth that we're copying. It's going to be the other side, and we go forward, and looks like the labial is the labial and the distal is the distal. So the model is oriented correctly, but for some reason it flips. So let's see if we can troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. Now before we do that, I'm taking a look at the model. We've got some model distortion here, and this is typically the sign of just some extra images or some sort of powder on the lens or some other issue. If you see this and it looks almost manufactured, hard to describe it, that's a graphics card issue. When you see lines like this in just one part of the area, that's typically the sign that there's some images that are causing some corruption of the model. So I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning here, and let's see if we can't troubleshoot and see what's going on. So here's our images, and here's our opposing. Now, as you know, in 3.8, when you do biogeneric reference, you have to take a byte registration because we can't do a buccal byte, because whatever images are put in the occlusion folder, that's what gets used for our buccal byte. I'm sorry, for our biogeneric reference. Having said that, if what I'm going to image, if what I'm going to reference is in one model, then I don't need any images here. For example, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these images. And a quick way to do it is just right click on the catalog that I want to delete. I'm going to get rid of the occlusion window because the tooth that I want to reference is already present here in this upper model. And if it's already present there, then I don't need to put anything in the occlusion folder. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just delete that. So we've got two catalogs that we're working on. Now let's go in and look at our different images. So that's a good looking image, but one thing I want you to notice, look at the edge of the buccal part of that tooth. You can see there's a slight shaking of the camera. You see the little jagged edges towards the right side of the screen there. We've got another image. This is better, but again, just very, very subtle. You see the jagged edges on the right side of the screen. I mean, not terrible by any means. This image is better than this image. So maybe what I'll do is I'll probably just end up getting rid of this image over here because it's redundant. So let's just go ahead and put it in a save folder. Now it looks like we need that to stitch the model, so we'll put it back in. The next image here, look at how much cleaner this image looks here. Next image here. Now here's an image that there's a lot of shakiness, and hopefully the arrows that I've drawn, you can see the shaking of the images. So every time you have a shake in the image, it'll lead to that model distortion that I talked about earlier. Okay. Now there is no need in this software to flip the camera at the midline. You can simply go ahead and just keep the camera in the same plane and not have to image. And what I probably would have done is image 6, 7, and 8 here, and instead of trying to make one big model, I would have imaged tooth number 10 over here, because then what we could do is use tooth number 10 as the reference instead of having this big model over here. Probably would have just made imaging a bit easier. We could have gotten rid of some of the distortions there. Again, another little bit of a shaky image. Here's another one over here. Look at the difference between this image. Now look at how clean this image is. There's no shaking, there's no jagged edges. It is pristine, it is perfect. Compare this image to the one over here, where if you look on the sides of the image, you see those lines, and those lines are what's going to cause the model distortion. So try to get all of your images pristine like this. Here's another one, another nice, good, clean image of tooth number 10. Let's take a look over here. This is not so bad. Really, I don't see a difference between this and this. Probably a little bit redundant. I'd probably get rid of this. Let's see if we can get rid of it and not have it affect our proposal. So here's 8. Again, jagged. See the shaking? Let's get rid of that image. We're going to clean up this model a little bit. So I would go through on every single case and I would attempt to get rid of any images that are just not good. So I got rid of a couple of them. Ideally, I would have liked to gotten rid of a little bit more, but look at how much cleaner this looks over here. Okay, a lot of that distortion is already gone, and you know, if we can go in and get rid of some of these other ones, we might be able to clean up this model even more. Let's see if I can get rid of image number 4. Good. Fewer images I have, the better off we are. Okay, this has a lot of the cheek and the tongue, but I think we need that. And over here. All right, so now that I've cleaned up this model, we've got an image of tooth number 10. Let's move forward. And as I move forward, hopefully by getting rid of some of these extra images, by getting rid of the stuff in the occlusion window, we are able to get a proposal that works without having to have the proposal get flipped around. So here we are. I never trim my model. As long as you get separation between the adjacent teeth, we can skip that. Look at how much better this model looks. This is the bite registration. We do need to trim the bite registration. In 4.0, I would be doing this with buccal bite, so this wouldn't be anything that we need to do. Look at how much better this is. We still have some distortion because remember, I couldn't get rid of all of the bad images, but this is better than before. You can see how this is changed from before. Okay, so the fewer images you have, the less shaking that you have, the better your pictures are going to be. Let's go ahead and just trim this a little bit more. Okay, so there's my bite. Now we'll marginate. Margins look pretty good here, nice and clean. And we'll just go ahead and draw the margin. I won't spend too much time here because I'm just designing the case for you guys. Let's go ahead and adjust our insertion axis. Insertion axis looks good. Labial is labial. Mesial is mesial. Click next. Now, what is the tooth that we want to reference? We want to reference tooth number 10. Software says, hey, that's the contralateral tooth. Do you want to mirror it? Yes, I do. And then what's tooth number 10 on this model? It's this guy here. And notice this is the same one that came up before, but because I took out the images in the occlusion window, we're okay. We still have that model that we can reference. I'll draw my line real quick. And really, it's not that critical how you draw the line. It's a little bit critical in 4.0, but in 3.8, it gives you a lot of leeway. Try not to have anything like this, these sharp transitions. Keep it nice and smooth. Okay, move forward. Hopefully, if we've done it right, we should get a proper proposal without having the software flip it around. And what I think was causing the problem was just a lot of images, a lot of shaking images, and it was causing the proposal to get backwards because the images were confusing the software. So to recap, minimize your images so you don't get distortion. You don't have to flip the camera at the midline, and you don't need anything in the occlusion window right here if what you're trying to reference is in your preparation window.